Good morning, everyone. It is Kristen at Leftover Cake Chat. Happy Wedding Wednesday. I am talking with you today about wedding DJs, and I had hoped that my colleague Jimmy Jamz would be on with us, but he has not shown up yet. So it's okay. As a planner, you just roll with things. I know that he probably has something going on with one of his little kids, so he may join us momentarily. But I will get started. As a planner for 25 years, there are several things that I would always advise clients to ask their DJs and talk with their potential DJs about in advance. So I'm going to share with you that list. I'm going to read from my notes because I know these were things Jimmy and I had discussed. Basically, you are obviously going to check the date. So what date is available with them is going to be important. You want to make sure that the DJ that you're actually talking with and inquiring about the date is going to be your actual DJ for the event. The last thing that you want to do is that you want to talk with someone and meet with them, much like a planner, and then find out on the day of that they're actually not the person that you would be working with. Secondly, how long have they been DJing? What type of equipment do they have? Do they have a backup system? Do they have a backup DJ? These are things that are all very important. So if someone does not show up or someone's equipment is older, that they have the means to actually switch that out. Backup speakers are very important. Backup microphone systems are very important, especially if they are doing multiple locations for you. So if you're having your ceremony in one spot, your cocktail hour in another spot, and your reception in a third spot, maybe even an after party, you've got to take into consideration how all those things logistically are going to work out. And typically, if you're doing multiple locations, you're obviously hiring someone with multiple equipment and someone to actually help them. You don't want to have downtime between events. That kind of kills the mood, kills the buzz that's going on around the celebration. So what are they wearing? Like, you obviously want to dictate whatever your attire is of your wedding guests, and your theme of your wedding is what your vendors are also going to wear so that they blend in and do not stand out. The only person standing out on that day should be the bride and the groom. So ask what they're wearing. What are their favorite songs? Like, what is their ultimate playlist? And take their guidance. So we all might have like super preferences on our own style of music, and that's great. I'm a huge Dave Matthews fan. Probably a Dave Matthews playlist outside of maybe a few songs is not going to work to play at your entire wedding, because you want it to be engaging for everyone and all ages. So depending on the age range that you're actually including at the wedding. So DJs and bands come into play here, and obviously your planner to help you make sure that you are giving everyone a fun experience. Obviously include in your favorites, but also make it so that people have something to dance to of all ages. So think about grandparents, think about the younger crowd. Usually the most popular hits, which mostly are older, are the ones that are the crowd pleasers and get everyone onto the dance floor, which is also important, is that you have a do not playlist. And so the songs that you absolutely do not want to hear are songs that your DJ is not going to play. And are you taking an actual request? Are you letting them take requests from your guests? Because that obviously plays a factor in whether or not you can control. If they request a song that's on your do not playlist, it obviously takes it off of them or off of you to tell them they can't play that song. The DJ would actually be the one managing that. So those are some of the things. Let me continue down my list here. A playlist is important, and a do not playlist is equally as important, just to reiterate. Let's see. Can you watch them perform? So can you go to an event, or do they have an event that they have videoed, or someone else has videoed at prior weddings? I do not like a chatty DJ. And again, that's preference. The event to me is your event. It is not the DJ's event. And I have sadly in the past, many years ago, worked with some DJs that decided that they wanted to take over the event and be super chatty on the microphone. Probably not something that you want. Maybe it is, but that again is something to be discussed prior to your wedding. What they need to say, when they need to say it. They have a timeline. Usually they're working quite closely with the person coordinating. If you don't have a coordinator, it's even more important to have a timeline and a list of what expectations are. And so if you can watch them, you can view them, you can see them, that's very cool. What is included in their package and pricing? So are they bringing any type of lighting? Are they bringing, again, extra equipment if needed in multiple locations? Are they miking your officiant? Perhaps you're not being married in a church. You're being married outside of a church, outdoors. So miking people are very important for everyone to be able to hear, unless you have a super small, intimate group. Does your contract include any overtime? So a lot of times people will come at the end of the night, and we usually let people know, we are at the end of your event and your occasion. Perhaps you're going on to an after party of sorts. But that always gives the opportunity for you to say, if a venue allows, to extend the party. Is that included in your DJ contract or your band contract, or are they going to hit you with kind of a larger surcharge because obviously they have a timeline as well? So those are just things that you obviously want to talk about. Ask if they've performed, at your venue before. I'm going to take a sip of water, and I am drinking water because I am doing my isogenic challenge. Healthy challenge. And so no champagne and cake this morning. Sorry for those that follow us. No champagne and cake today. Have you performed at the venue before? Have they been to the area that you are holding your celebrations? Because that obviously is something that is great. If they already know what the acoustics are like, they already know where the electricity is. Suggest if they have not been to the venue that they actually are going to attend or go to some type of walkthrough prior to, so that they are not scrambling on the day of. And speaking of scrambling, make sure that they are there well in advance to set up and sound check. The last thing that you want is someone setting up as guests are arriving. Huge pet peeve of mine. Not going to happen. And anyone professional that's not going to happen. But again, if you are, sometimes people tend to hire friends and family. Not a big fan of that, but if you are doing that, you just want to make sure that boundaries and rules and timelines and expectations are very, very well detailed out in advance. What is the backup in case of inclement weather? So obviously you probably have a backup plan for your actual event, but you want to make sure that's clearly communicated with anyone doing entertainment. Anyone that has electricity is obviously going to be very, very in tune with weather. They cannot have their equipment get wet, or then perhaps you would be responsible. They are always probably going to ask for some type of a tent or cover in case of any bad weather. And again, that protects you. We will talk, I think next week or the following week, about wedding insurance, and this will play into fact there as well. You want to make sure that you're covered in case something happens to anybody's equipment, especially electronics, because they are expensive. It is important to do a sound check. I mentioned that. Most likely they're going to have insurance. The venues are all requiring insurance from all vendors these days. So you want to make sure that they have a liability policy. What is the cancellation policy? Hopefully we don't have to even think about dealing with this, but you always just want to have it checked off. Do they have a cancellation policy? Do they have a rebooking clause? God forbid you had to change something, your date or a venue for whatever reason. You want to make sure you have the flexibility with your vendors, not just your DJ, but your band, to be able to change that if you need to. Again, insurance would come into play here. How many breaks do they plan to take, or how many breaks do they need during their event? A lot of times breaks will be factored in while people are actually eating dinner, so that it's background music. It's not something where any commentation is going to be needed. And so they're not breaking. Well, it is a very important time during the event, such as cake cutting, toasts, speeches, things like that. You always want to make sure anyone in charge of the microphone or entertainment is prior or committed prior for those pieces of the event. How do you encourage people to get up and dance? Again, this comes back to the playlist. So a great DJ, a great band is always going to be able to feel the vibe of the room. They're going to know, obviously, if the dance floor is packed, that's the kind of vibe, that's the kind of dance someone's wanting to dance to. If all of a sudden they switch to a song and the dance floor clears and no one is on it, then they're probably going to be able to have the ability to mix it up right away and go into another song. You do not want to have an empty dance floor by any means. You have paid for your musician or your band. You want to make sure that people are enjoying themselves and that you yourself can get up and dance and have fun. So those are kind of the key pieces of a DJ, or things I would ask them if they were performing for a client of mine. And pretty much the same with the band. We'll probably add a band section further on down the line, because that does get a little more integral. Abaco's here in the background moving. But you want to make sure, again, that you have those conversations in advance and everything is detailed out, especially with a timeline. We're going to talk today a little bit about how to make fun with bringing in some themed. We had an event where we had disco ball drink cups, disco ball stirs, and obviously disco balls hanging over the dance floor. So if you love music and you want to get into that theme, and maybe it's not even the wedding, maybe it's your welcome party or something like that, reach out to us. We have access to be able to provide themed items for that as well. And then I think the last part today that I'll talk about is my venue choice this week, which was just down the road here. Let me bring it up, in Auburn, Alabama, which is an amazing, beautiful historical venue that looks absolutely lovely. I'm actually going to visit it in the next couple of weeks, and I'm really excited about it. But the reviews have been amazing. And I need to just open my file here. So you are going to go to Auburn, Alabama, which you can fly in to Montgomery, Birmingham, Atlanta, Columbus. All of those are going to be within a driving distance, or perhaps you're already within driving distance to Auburn. Fountain View Mansion is my pick of the week, and I'm super excited to visit there. It looks beautiful. The reviews are beautiful. One of the photographers that I'm working with on another event has very, very nice things to say about that venue. So check it out. That's my pick of the week. So it's going to be short and sweet today. I'm actually getting ready to head out to Las Vegas for a trade show. Trying to protect my voice, and it's a little off, as you can imagine already. So talking for a week straight is going to be interesting. So thanks so much for joining us. If you have any questions, reach out. You can message us on Leftover Cake Chat. You can message us at Plum Southern. You can also message us in Mother of the Bride or the Bridal Retreat. Plenty of avenues to reach out to us and ask your questions, not just about DJing or the venue or the drink cups and stirs and themes. You can message us about anything wedding planning related, anything bridal registry related. We are here to help you. And also, if you have any wedding wellness questions, the Bridal Retreat is all about wedding planning, Mary's wellness, and please remember to enjoy the journey. So take care, everyone. Happy Wedding Wednesday, and we will see you next Wednesday live from Las Vegas. Bye.